All right. And then, well, then you'll get to chapter 2.
Okay, that's
Uh,
fine.
mhm.
Okay. So we're now live here. I wanted to just dive in because just due to time and respect of time, being that we are running behind. So I do apologize and I thank you for having the patience that you do have so far. But we can get started. Let's just go over what we talked about in the previous segment of chapter one. Let's do that. And while we're doing that, I'll let you lead and talk.
All right. So just a quick statement on the book itself. Okay. Place of Nights. Okay. Subtitle War and Resurrection. Okay. Um, Special shout out to all who have supported the novel, um, and also a special invite. If you haven't read it, okay, you're in for an experience.
I
All right.
agree.
All right. And I'm not just saying it because I wrote it, okay, but because I've experienced it, and I've shared it since 2015, uh, and the feedback has been tremendous. Now, we reviewed chapter 1 and noted, okay, we're not providing like a summary of the book. This is not quote unquote a book read. What we're doing is extrapolating from chapters 1, 2, 3, and 4
Mm-hmm.
on separate uh, or at separate times, okay, uh, one per week, just to highlight how Ifeanyi Sheshe is infused in literature and what we can get out of it. So it's a matter of insight, you know. Uh, the book is not entertaining in terms of, let's just say, a Hollywood directive or a a narrative for leisure. It's a deep study. You know, it's a deep study into Ifeanyi Sheshe, and it's presented in a realistic term as more of the core than a quote unquote religious exploration of how else we can live. The major character, Emina, is definitely earthbound,
Mm-hmm.
and all the characters are historically, okay, drawn from. Okay? I did the research and I said, okay, learning about these characters in real time is providing not only inspiration but insight into the human experience and also into the historical experience
Mm-hmm.
of an African centric, centric development. So we talked about Amina, and first time Amina is going through some challenges. Okay, uh, she she has been exiled, and she finds herself in a strange land, in a strange place, and she somehow manages to come across an elder of the indigenous people, his name being Senekumani. Senekumani is deep, okay? And he's sharing with her that there is a God force at the bottom of the lake. And she's having a little difficulty with uh, understanding. In the process, parallel to her deepening, um, the compound is raided by beasts like pirates, and they disrupt and they destroy. She escapes. She's drawn down into the lake, and there resides Baluku, you know, a sentient a creature whom Emina is able to communicate with. Now she thinks she's dead, and she just very well may be. But via her conversations with Baluku, she is able to gain even greater insight into herself. She wants Baluku as a god force to save um, her. But Baluku states, and this seems to be a favorite passage from the book, that I'm not here to save you, but I am here to help you save yourself. So there's an onus and a responsibility uh, that is awakened and ignited in Emina. Okay. That said, we now venture into chapter two, a king going mad. That king is Emina's father. They have journeyed from the Oyo Empire in Nigeria eastward, and they're conquering on the way. And again, Seneca people are feeling the heat. Okay, so Emina is rebelling against her father, but not because of his warlike ways up to this point. Uh, Now, in chapter two, we get a little hint of Amina's dad, and he is losing it. All right. So as we see, again highlighting what the theme of the chapter is for this podcast, how Ifa and the Babalao, who embodies Ifa, play a part in trying to counterbalance um, Amina's father, but it's a challenge. Okay, all right. Let's begin.
Thank you. And Alafiata Oshuniye. I hope I'm
Hmm.
pronouncing that right. Shea
Hmm.
Alafi, thank you for being here with us. So let's get started because this is exciting. I'm ready for chapter
Right.
two.
Okay.
All right. Foloye, realizing prose and scriptures could ease his mournful sovereign, drew back his boba. Love carries our hearts through perilous carvings, thunderous storms, and scorching deserts. Love moves us, yet we have no say in it. We are set to act on its behalf, and yet we often act in opposition to its basic premise, loyalty. My king, we are but teardrops falling onto an ocean. Adefemi, make sure I'm pronouncing his name right, cried unto his sorrow, I should have never sent her away. If she'd remained with me, this wouldn't have happened. I'm not fit to be a king. I'm not fit to be a father. I'm not fit to be live. I'm not fit to live. With
Hmm.
trembling hands, he drew his dagger and brought it up to his neck. It pierced his skin. Blood coursed the blade. The high priest talked quickly. She had her mother would she and her mother would have convinced you that you're a hunter, cold, callous, cruel, calculating. She and her mother would have likened you to a beast in that they and all women are but helpless prey trapped beneath your feet. Resist their words with placid reasoning. Is it not true that flowers hunt the bees and seeds the gentle winds? The flower shows its color and gives off an scent, and it captivates the insects. The seed no, the sea relinquished itself, allowing currents to deliver to the earth's womb. No matter what, everything hunts in its own way, and thus everything is, in some way, hunted. Why nature intends this is of a little consequence. What matters is that you're not only the predator, you're also the prey. Moved by the eloquent um, recitation, Adefemi slowly pulled the dagger back onto his belt. Then, in an apparent shift, he clenched his fist and stumped across the decks. He began to he began to rant and rave and prepare in apparent shift. He clenches his fist and stumped against the desk and began to rat and rave. Prepare the army for battle against Dravidians. By order of your king, prepare for war. War will once again unite the land. War will uplift the kingdom. War is good for the nation.
Mhm.
So he's pretty much ready to go to war.
Yes. Yes.
He's upset. He's
Okay.
upset for the loss of his daughter.
Yes. And one might say that he has a guilty conscience
Yeah, I,
because he's talking, I'm not fit to live. I should have never sent her away. And of course, her is Emina. Okay. But Faloye is the Babalao. And Faloye, realizing prose and scriptures could not ease his mournful sovereign.
mm-hmm,
Now that's crucial. That's crucial because we tend to have this view that uh, scriptures are going to bring some relief from our suffering. You
mm,
know,
yeah,
be it read a passage from any sacred book
mm,
or go get a divination and the Odu says that, this and that is going to share. Now, for Loyer, A isn't saying, oh, well, we need a divination.
mm-hmm,
Okay. For Loyer draws back his booba. Okay. Because he's getting ready to get into his wisdom,
mm-hmm,
you know. Now, as a Babylao myself, over a period of time, it becomes a matter of internalizing the wisdom and not just memorizing the wisdom. There's a difference because
mm-hmm.
you run down scripture, but that doesn't mean that you personally have attained any wisdom, and therefore you can't share it. All you can say is, well, this is what the Odu says. Okay. But it's almost like you can get a computer to do it. You know what I mean? It's like AI. The human experience
That's right.
is what I'm trying to show and demonstrate here.
Mm-hmm,
So Faloye realizes that it's not time for scripture, you know, it's time for insight. So he goes, love carries our hearts through perilous caverns, thunderstorms, and scorching deserts. Now he's talking about love. Love of whom? The love that a father would have for his daughter.
mm-hmm,
Okay. But then he says, the basic premise of love is loyalty. So Amina did something to strip the trust away.
mm,
She was disloyal. So for lawyers, basically saying is, you know, you had to do what you had to do. I understand that your tears, like teardrops falling into an ocean, I get it.
yeah,
But Adefemi is still crying, I'm not fit to be a father. I'm not fit to be a king. For lawyer again, now he's talking quickly. He's not saying, oh, well, we have to see the Orisha and, oh, we have to do this and, oh, we have to do that. It's like, no, I got to talk him down,
yeah,
you know?
yeah,
I have to talk him down. You know? So now she and her mother, she being Amina, will convince you that you're the hunter. But what he's trying to get the king to see is that you're not only the hunter, you're also the hunted.
mm-hmm.
Because basically you got played. And we find that out. through as the reading continues, that Emina kind of went behind his back,
Mm.
you know, and destroyed the trust and disrupted, the loyalty.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, as we go down, he says everything hunts in his own way, and thus everything is in some way hunted. I don't think that's can be debated. You go to hunt something, that same something could be hunting you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all like very cyclic and it's nature.
Uh,
Nobody knows why, but it is what it is. So for Loye, it's like, okay, I'm getting through to him. And then we get to that last part, say, moved by the eloquent recitation, Adefemi slowly put the dagger back into his belt. Because
mm,
in his madness, he's getting ready to slit his own throat.
mm-hmm.
Now, when the chapter starts off, before we get to the part that's highlighted, we find that he's ragged. He hasn't eaten. He doesn't sleep.
Mm-hmm.
He had shaved. He's looking bad. You know. So for
Mm-hmm.
some reason, he can't pull out of what he had to do to his daughter. He had to send her away, and that's tearing him apart.
I like how you put she and her mother would convince you that you're a hunter, cold, callous, and cruel. But I really wonder, what did the mother also do? Did they double team him?
Ah,
Like a mom and a daughter.
yeah. Let's just say that the mother attempted to change his mind about sending Emina away.
Mm.
She attempted to, okay, but she kind of pushed it a little too hard. And we'll
Oh.
find that more about that in chapter 3. But the whole thing is everybody has their part to play in what happened,
Mm.
you know? So
Okay.
it's like that, what we might call like palace intrigue, where there's stuff going on. Everything looks pretty on the outside, but folks, they working they stuff.
Mm. Okay. Okay. I want to make sure I acknowledge those coming in. Thank you for being
Uh-huh.
here.
All right.
Thank you for being here, boy.
Okay. Agosto, greetings everyone. All right. All right. Moving on. Oh,
Can you hear
before
me?
you go, yes. Now it talks about now the king is talking about he wants to go to war. You
Oh
know,
yes, yeah, exactly.
he wants to go to war. But what we're going to find out is that he doesn't want to go to war because of Amina. He
Hmm.
also has what we might call a hidden agenda, but
Oh,
that gets found out too.
well,
Okay.
that's interesting that you say that because his guilt is so high,
Yeah.
and he's actually like shifting blame. He's not only guilty, but he's like shifting blame a bit. But let, let me read. Let me go to the next one.
Okay. Let's go.
Right. Oba, the Dravidians have no standing army. They don't believe in war. They maintain that the great spirit of the lake is peaceful and they worship it as such. Silence. I'll hear no more of them or their God. Your daughter's death will be avenged.
My
Oba,
daughter.
please.
Mhm.
Hmm?
My daughter's death.
My daughter's death will be avenged. Thank you.
Mhm. No problem.
Oh, please reconsider. Arjo, make sure I'm saying that right.
Yes.
Arjo
Hmm.
could be mistaken or lying. He has been known to bend branches in order to provide shade. Guard your words, my brother, as dear to me as my life. I entrusted him, in him alone, to hold our wayward youths. The colony was a place to keep them, no, there was a place to help them grow,
Hmm.
not to be slaughtered and eaten by primitives. Faloye held up his staff. The Odu Ifa must be consulted. He said with a voice impassioned, "Our nation cannot go to war without Dafa. Throw your palm seeds if you want, but your king demands vengeance, and woe unto anyone who stands against me." This is I laugh because in most
Mhm.
cases that's like a common theme where they think that they have to go and consult Ifa whenever they're having whenever a person is going through war. But
Yeah, yeah. Well, in the same way, Congress is 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 in need of being consulted, before the United States could go to war, well, at least up to recently. You know what I mean?
mm-hmm,
Politically speaking, but there's always been this kind of check and balance
mm-hmm,
because the individual in charge cannot be omnipotent. He just can't do, what he wants to do. There's factors that come into play. All right.
mm-hmm,
So, but again, now for Loye, it's like, okay, we're going too far. You're talking about going to war against a peaceful people.
mm-hmm,
You know, he
mm-hmm,
said the Dravidians, they don't even have an army. So why you want to go there and smash it? Oh well, they did this. Now Arjo is the king's brother, who
mm-hmm,
is Emina's uncle. He's in charge of the juvie center, so to speak, or the prison camp. Okay,
mm-hmm.
so Arjo sends word that the Dravidians killed Emina because Arjo was in league with the pirates so that they
Obvious.
could rob the place.
Mm-hmm,
So now he's telling his brother the king that the Dravidians they killed your daughter. Okay, but we know that Amina escaped. We know that Arjo was behind, taking down the uh, the holding facility, if you will. Okay, and just starting up some stuff. Now, and the king is all upset. He's not thinking straight. So now for Laurier, it's like, we need to divine.
mm-hmm,
Okay. We need to find out what's going on. And he say, wait now, Arjo could be mistaken or lying. He has been known to bend branches in order to provide shade.
mm-hmm,
So he's calling him out. He's
mm-hmm,
like, your brother, he's a liar. You know what I mean? He'll bend branches to provide shade for himself. So he's not really, the person to listen to right now. Now
mm-hmm,
we need to consult, you know.
mm-hmm.
See, this is where, and I'm just gonna throw this in like a little like a commercial, is that for the most part, until recently, when we've seen any type of African religions, spiritual, philosophical, you know, anything. It was always Hollywood, misrepresented,
Mm-hmm.
tainted. The literature and books that we may have, experienced in school, be it kindergarten to college,
Mm-hmm.
never really put Ifa or Risha, the practice of Isheshe, in a positive light. It was always some kind of, spooky stuff. You know what I mean? Or that's how it was presented. The first time I saw it presented in a positive sense was Bucking the Preacher, all right, with Sidney Poitier and Harry Belafonte. That's
Okay.
going back a little bit. But then after that, nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I could talk extensively about this because, you know, in order to see what needs to be there, we need to find out what's not. So as time, elapsed, then we started seeing Ifa and Isheshe presented in more positive lights. Currently, Iyanu is good. Season 2 of Laura Croft. an anime is perfect. That whole season,
Mm-hmm.
season two, is about the mask of the Orisha. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, okay, finally. Okay.
I've never actually seen anything representing the Orishas in any
Uh,
film, but you did send me the Laura Croft link to check
yes.
it out.
Every episode in season two is about Orisha. From
Mm.
Eshu to Babaluaye to Yema, they call their names and they have characters for them.
What?
Yep.
And
And
it wasn't
another
way,
hmm,
and it wasn't represented in a demonic way.
no.
Wow. Okay.
Matter of fact, the demon who was trying to, like abuse the power, okay, um, were corporate people. I'll leave it at that.
Mm-hmm.
And so the mission was to get these power objects back.
Mm-hmm.
So these megalomaniacs don't use it to destroy the world, in order to gain, you know, based on greed.
Mm-hmm.
What are we doing here? Okay. So yeah, so there's another one called Crew, and that has a little Haitian flavor to it, but it's
Mm-hmm.
very positive, and it's spelled Kwere, something to that effect. But at any rate, as far as the commercial is concerned, it's like, okay, how are we representing ourselves as Ifani Sheshe, you know, in literature?
Bear with me just a moment. Let me grab my charger for my
Yeah.
laptop. I'm here. I'm listening.
So we're gonna start to infuse Ifa and Isheshe in our works, uh, and not just because we want to present, for lack of a better word, the mythological aspects. Everything is okay, just about Shango, just about Ogun, da 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 da. Okay, we get that. Okay, but the, the knowledge of and the deepness of has to trickle down into the genres, you know, of literature. You know, it can't just be a matter of research. It has to be a matter of application for the masses of the people. Not just for those who are seeking, some academic approval, but how do we actually gain from the knowledge, and how does that knowledge become wisdom? You see, it can't be confined, in my humble opinion, to an elay or to priests and priestesses. Now I said confined. I didn't say in place of. So for those who like to twist, don't get it twisted. All right. But the whole thing is to expand it. You know, we see, for example, Judeo Christian and Islamic doctrine. Okay, uh, all in movies and all in comic books and all in children's books. It's all there, and for the horrors that are part and parcel of these faith systems, okay, we get mostly the positive, and anything against it is seen as wicked. You know, so I'm trying to set an example here. You know, uh, this is the second novel, and then there's a number of short stories that I have written before. But uh, it's like, okay, we we can do this from Ifa and Isheshe. We can pool our resources together. Um, we can get this book in anime. You yourself, Ia, had stated that it would be. um, awesome to if we could take parts of this and using AI come up with various shorts that highlight different scenes and different messages that we'd like to get across about Ifa, Isheshe, and our development. Okay. All right. You ready to move on?
Yes, coming now.
All
Yeah,
right.
put my charger
All right.
back
You
up.
have come on. Uh, but
I think.
at this point, can we ask if anyone would have any thing to add or like to say?
Yeah, I was actually gonna suggest that we do because I wanted to hear what anyone else had to say because, like you said,
Hmm.
we have to apply wisdom.
Yeah. All right. They have to type it in the comment, or can we hear them?
They could type it in a comment or they could join the screen if they have the link. I can invite them up if they want to be invited up on the stage. Uh,
Okay.
link, but definitely the floor is open if anybody has any suggestions or not suggestions, but any comments,
Mm-hmm.
reflections that they want to add on to anything that we've talked about.
Yeah.
And yeah, I do agree with the idea of animation. Like I said, I think it would be lovely to. I think animation just reaches a particular like group of people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it helps people to understand. I didn't even know they were still making any Laura Croft movies. I haven't seen that since I was like 10, over
Yeah.
20 years. I did not know that.
But this one particularly is all anime.
Yeah, I saw that. I didn't even.
Uh-huh.
Is it anime or is that a gaming system?
Oh no, it's anime. Well, there's also a game, but Netflix has it in anime.
Wow. Wow.
Okay. And so basically what I'm saying is that you know there needs to be a wide range of
Mm-hmm.
representation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, from anime to novels to songs. Okay, we hear
I,
more songs. All right. Everything, it just can't be confined to this. Oh, the only place that we're gonna hear about E5 is in the Elay, or when I go get uh,
Defa.
yeah, or when I gotta make a bow. You understand that? That's so in the box. It's more Catholic than it is
Mm.
Afrocentric.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's that one area of syncretism that we seem to have the most difficult time unbraiding,
Mm.
basically because we're born in the Christian world, but that's
Mm-hmm.
not the only world, you know.
Yeah.
But because we're immersed in it at such early and impressionable ages, and is constantly reinforced, then
Mm-hmm.
it becomes again difficult to unmasked. All right.
You
Kamani
still.
says the king is often blinded by his kingship, so to speak. For lawyers trying to give him insight, but against, he disregards the wisdom that could lend him more understanding. Without
Mm.
giving the story away, the king isn't the only one guilty of this. All right, brother. All right. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
And the last point, before moving on, is that and based on Kamani's statement, is that many of us continue to be like the king. You
Mm-hmm.
know, we get caught up in our feelings, we get caught up in our guilt. We get caught up in our inability to find reason and rationale to our actions.
Mm-hmm.
And even when wisdom, like through Faloye, comes to us, we don't really embrace it. As a matter of fact, we do the exact opposite. Like somebody saying, "Look, yo, you really don't have to, to do this." You're like, "Yeah, I do, and I'm going to do even more." You know what I'm saying? Somebody trying to talk you down, but now you blacking out, and it's like how many of us can say, "Yeah, I can relate to that.
Yeah.
I can relate to." I would rather go to war than find peace within myself.
Mm-hmm.
We are all kings going mad. Okay, but at any rate, seeing Ifani Sheshe across the board and in novels and having platforms like this helps
Mm-hmm.
us not just to understand Ifani Sheshe better, but help us to understand the human condition better,
Yeah.
you know? And sometimes we don't even want to hear Dafa. We don't even want to hear the wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, moving on. The dungeon.
The dungeon.
Hmm.
Foloye's imprisonment hadn't deafened him or his capacity. He'd heard the preparations for war and had begun from the idle chatter of newly arrived criminals and the drunken talk of jail keepers. Though he advised against it, the king had decided to reject the counsel and follow his own deranged mind. And when he, as high priest, decried the war, Adifemi had him arrested and thrown in the dungeon. Rising beyond disbelief, he constantly reflected on the sacred Ifa oracle that would have guided the kingdom, Ogunda Iwori. One should not rush hastily into war. There are unseen forces at work. Lies and deception cause trouble. Patience is the father of good character. Seek beyond all else good character. He began to sing his songs of songs. What are you doing in there, you scrawny mutt? The guard asked as he pushed gruel under the bars. Spittle dripped through his cracked teeth. A large rat scurried across the dust-laden floor and snatched the dried cocoyam from the shallow bowl. The jailer kicked at the rodent,
Hmm.
cursing. He swore that he was going to leave this hole, joining the king's army and fight against the accused the cursed Dravidians.
Hmm.
Hmm. Nothing. I was just having a bad dream, Foloye mumbled. The guard turned and lit down the aged cobblestone passageway, his off-time cadence recognized and abhorred by prisoners echoed. The old Babalao picked what he could from the encrusted gruel and swished the tainted water around his mouth. And once he finished, he sat in the mid of his cell and thought of what he had to do. Then it dawned on him. He must send his spirit to the one person who could possibly prevent his senseless war. Well, this senseless war.
Hmm.
Hmm. He remained unmoved. Time passed. Then, on the night of nights, within the starlit bliss of meditative trance, he came across a bronze skinned goddess. This is your part.
Hmm. All
Uh,
right. Then on the night of nights, in the starlit bliss of meditative trance, he came across a bronze-skinned goddess sleeping peacefully on a bed of grasses. He caressed her face to awaken her, unstartled. Her moon-shaped eyes slowly opened. Stretching her body, she stood and silently acknowledged his presence. She then reached for her ageless shikare. The loosely knitted cowrie shells, broken and discolored, rattled and clicked when she lifted the shakere to the sky. She began to play, and both she and Faloye twisted and turned in cosmic dance. Their feet moved in time and polyrhythmically with
oops.
drum beats thundering from dark, clouded skies. The elekes they wore swayed like shifting constellations, each beaded strand a dulled reflection of births, rebirths, and transformations past and yet to come. Sweat poured from their bodies.
That was a scene. So he's in prison.
Hmm.
He okay. Is this Falo? Let me make sure this is Faloye in prison.
Yes.
Faloyo has been thrown in prison by Adefemi.
Yeah.
Why? Wait a minute. Okay,
Because
this was and I. Okay, go ahead. Because I got
Because
some questions.
Oloye decried the war. Oloye was like, we
No,
shouldn't do this. So
exactly.
Adefemi is pissed. He's like, okay, I can't have the high priest going around telling everybody that we can't go to war when I want us to go to war. So to shut Oloye up, he threw him in prison,
Mm-hmm.
a political prisoner.
Mm.
You see?
Mm-hmm.
So while in there, Faloye apparently, as a Babalao, had done the Dafa and to come up with Ogunda Iwori. And
Mm-hmm.
now, when I put these Odu in the book, they are Odu from Ifa. I'm not making it up. you know, so I'm again braiding in
Yeah, I
Ifa
see.
into this intricate story that's unfolding.
Mm-hmm.
And so now we see that there's lies and deceptions. There's some stuff going on that Faloye is peeping through the Odu.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So he's like, okay, I got to send a spiritual message to the one person. Now we don't know who that one person is yet. But on his way there, he comes across the bronze skinned goddess. Now,
Mm-hmm.
who else could be the bronze skinned goddess?
So everybody's favorite bronze skin goddess.
Yes. With
We oh,
cowrie shells in the hair and the shikare.
they
Okay.
they always go for Oshun, especially when
Hmm.
it's like this. Because if they said, "Oh yeah," oh yeah would help with war. Oh yeah would be
Hmm.
more combative, but he
Hmm.
wanted something that's more that would help put him at ease in the time of war.
Right.
So I do like that you added that on there because that will definitely help like readers, especially
Mhm,
those in Ishe that's just so fascinated with the Orishas and Elekes and
mhm,
all and they'll do
mhm.
it will help them to be able to like depict it and really resonate with the sweetness, the ease, the coolness of the bronze skin goddess.
Yeah. Now,
You,
when you
you
mentioned,
didn't
oh
even say Oshun.
yeah,
You didn't even say Oshun. You just said bronze skin.
no, 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 because see, it's not about the name of the Orisha. You
Mm-hmm.
understand what I'm saying? Because as soon as you start naming Orisha, people start tripping.
Yeah.
Okay, and like it's not about what you see in the name. It's,
Mm-hmm.
it's what the principle is. Okay. Now you mentioned, oh yeah. Now, if Faloye was on the side of going to war
Mm-hmm.
along with the king, then yeah, Oya would probably be, you know, the Orisha that would be represented.
Mm-hmm.
But Faloye doesn't want to go to war. He's trying to save
Yeah.
the Dravidians from the wrath of this king going mad. So going to Oya, that probably wouldn't be the smartest thing to do. Okay. As they say, you adding fuel to the fire. You understand?
Yeah.
But Oshun, and then when we talk about Oshun, you know, people seem to forget that she is the Orisha of humanity.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and is what the king about to do a crime against humanity? He's
Mm-hmm.
getting ready to slaughter defenseless people, all
Mm-hmm.
because he's losing it or
Yeah.
he's lost it.
Yeah.
So Oshun has to come in to try to counterbalance this.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? Oshun pleads for humanity, for humankind at the feet of Oludumare. That is in the Odu scripture. That is in Ifa.
Mm-hmm.
But people can't get past the, you know, the physical appearance or the
Mm-hmm.
even sensual. It is not enough for most people because they want to get stuck on sexual,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
you know? But sensual. How do you sense things?
Mm-hmm.
You know. So on his way, Oloye joins with the Oshun principle, and together,
Mm-hmm.
they dance.
Mm-hmm.
They dance, and they literally dance up a storm.
Mm. Yeah, you depicted more like an intimate encounter, you know. And so for most people's minds, they're just going straight to the fact that he's probably just having a fantasy, you
Yeah.
know, just only in. Whereas
Hmm.
there's levels to even intimacy, you
Yes.
and so just thinking about,
Hmm.
you know, sitting and being still, maybe even crying, maybe even, you know, meditating, being quiet. I
Yes.
mean, only because you've given us this picture of what he's doing
Yes.
in a cool way, but it's a meditative trance. You
Yes.
added that into it, and so,
So in this trance, and I like the way you said intimacy and the different levels. Just because you're intimate with someone doesn't mean you have to be sexual. Just because
yeah.
you're intimate with someone doesn't mean you have, desirous, thoughts about the person. You
Hmm.
could just, you could be intimate with your divinity.
Hmm.
You
Yeah.
know,
Just
you know.
communicating is a form of intimacy.
Repeat that again, please.
I say just communicating is a form of intimacy.
Yeah,
Writing is a form of intimacy. So,
yeah.
you know, it's so many different ways to have
Okay.
that moment, but they will
Mhm.
only be hung up on the fact that the loosely knitted the loosely knitted curry shells, broken discolored, cosmic dance.
Yeah,
It-
yeah. And
Mhm.
then elekes are like constellations, like stars. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
What do elekes represent? Most people have elekes and they don't even think about why they're the color that they are. Oh well, it's white because that represents Obatala. And
Yeah.
I'm like, no, the white is representative of the light that kind of explodes in your mind when you go into deep meditation.
Mhm.
The light is the burst, okay, that
Mhm.
dispels the darkness.
Mhm.
And it's what Obatala means. It's not white because it's white. It's white because that's the only color that's close to this 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 burst that happens that elevates a
Mhm.
person, that transforms a person. But
Mhm.
see, if you are all into Arisha and you're not into the meditative sciences,
Mhm.
then from my humble opinion, you're missing like 90%
Mhm.
of what it's all about. 90%.
Mhm.
Anybody, you can have a child, learn or Orisha dance or even memorize the Ifa scripture,
Mhm.
you know. But once you get into the study and you see those elekes as more than, oh, this is my Ogun eleke, or this is my Ifa, my Rumala eleke, and start looking at the colors and start
Yes.
looking at, the vibration
Mhm.
of what it all represents,
Mhm.
you know, then y- then you're standing at the door of what's truly sacred, and that is your intimacy.
Yeah. Yeah. So just look at it with just one view, like with the colors. Oh, red is Shango, yellow is Oshun, is very sandbox like
Yeah.
play like. I didn't want to go too far off of the fact that you did mention, and I just want to say like the
Yeah.
amount of appreciation mentioned here with Ogunda Iwori just dropping that Odu
Hmm.
in the middle of the story like that, and I like that you mentioned it while he's in prison, because
Hmm.
he's thinking about one should not rush hastily into war. There are unseen forces at war. Like at being in prison, and this is what he's thinking about. It's just interesting to me. Is that he's still trying to live by the Odu
Yes.
with limited, with restrictions, with confinement. He's still trying to live by it. So, and then he's like seek beyond all else good character, even in trouble, in encampment, and
Right.
being in captive, and also in
Yeah.
prison. Like, how do
Yeah.
you even have time for that? How do you have time to think about this? You should be
Yeah.
thinking, saving yourself, or saving the king, or hoping to not well, saving the Dravidians also. Like he's trying to figure out a way to do all of this and thinking about that would do. It's interesting.
Okay. Kind of like the Malcolm X kind of thing happening. You know what? Just because you're in prison, like Nelson Mandela. You understand what I'm saying? Like Tiango. I mean, the list could go on of people who are political prisoners. He wasn't put in prison because he was a criminal.
Mm-hmm.
When you do that, your hand comes over the
Oh, okay. I thought that I saw a message. Did I see a new message come up? Or
yeah. Uh, but you know, I wanted to key on that whole political prisoner kind of thing. You know,
mm-hmm.
and a lot of greatness has come out of people who have been political prisoners. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that's like real powerful that you picked up on that. And yeah, let's see what happens. Okay.
um what Kamani Nick said, we're all into Orisha, but
Yeah.
not in us. But not the Orisha.
Okay. I think I heard that before. Come on. Okay. We all into Orisha, but we block off Orisha being into us. You know, and
Shout
and
out to
basically, uh
Kamani we're
go
talking
ahead.
about. His name is Kamani, like that's his real name.
Uh, why wouldn't it be?
Okay, well, like that's his name. That's also the character's name. Well, part of his name, Sunakumani.
Sinakumani. Okay, I
I
hear
just
you.
okay.
You rhyming and carrying on. Okay. Yeah.
Sunakumani sat in lotus posture in the corner of his lounge. His visions were more intense than usual. Mind messages were received, but they were blurred by time, distance, weariness, and suffering. He
Hmm.
could see the storm, but he couldn't fathom why his tribe was coming under attack. They weren't the ones who slaughtered the youth at the colony, a fact he knew all too well. He recalled the events and sought to understand how the massacre occurred without his knowledge. Days had passed. He walked through the colony in search of Emina, horrified by horrified by what he's seen. He asked the ghosts what happened. They told him what they knew, but they couldn't speak of her or where she was. Why is such trouble coming to us? Asked Mataji, his wife, as she stirred vegetables in the tarnished metal wok. Troubles come, he replied. My understanding isn't clear, husband. Our people have settled by the lake for generations, and outsiders have never attacked us. We've traded with our kindred throughout the forest, and aside from a few skirmishes, we've lived in peace. Yes, this is true. It wasn't until the strangers came, it must be their doing. These troubles, so it seems, Baloku won't allow harm to come to us. We must increase our offerings and our prayers, she said. The old tribal chief replied, Baloku won't involve himself. He may guide and direct us with wisdom and influence, but he won't wage war or kill. Such is a way of a true God.
Hmm.
Hmm. Interesting. Interesting. So he can speak to the ghost.
Okay.
Okay, that's interesting. And Mataji, his wife, is questioning Boloku. The people are questioning.
Uh, yeah.
They're. Mm-hmm,
Yeah. She's questioning why are these troubles?
mm-hmm,
Why is so much trouble coming to us? Asked Mataji. While she's cooking, she's like, what's going on? We've been living at peace for generations. We had our ups and downs, but
mm-hmm,
there's something about what's getting ready to happen that I'm a little concerned about.
mm-hmm.
What's going on. You know, and he's like, trouble comes.
But he's hiding it because he says his visions were more intense than usual. My
Yeah,
messages were received, but they were in blur this time. He's
yeah,
really trying to hide
yeah.
his concerns and
Right.
hold his in front of his wife.
Exactly. You know, he's playing her off, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And why? Because he believes that Buluku, okay, though not involving himself, that Buluku will be a saving grace
Mm-hmm.
because Buluku is the true God. A
Mm-hmm.
true God doesn't wage war.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in a sense, this is a direct affront to the Judeo Christian Islamic thing that's happening, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in God destroys the world, God kills all the firstborn, God, sends
Yeah.
a flood and 40 days and 40 nights, you know what I mean? It
Mm-hmm.
destroys the world. Sodom and Gomorrah, we're just gonna blow the whole place up. I don't care who's doing what, you know, and conquers other nations, the Canaanites and all of
Mm-hmm.
that, David and Goliath thing. So my whole, take on that is I'm not down with people's interpretation
Mm-hmm.
of the merciful God because all through the Bible and you ain't seeing too much mercy happening.
No, it's
You're just not. I'm not being like argue. I'm not throwing shade. I'm just seeing it for what it is, and I'm
not.
like the God they worship is a war God.
Yes,
It's a
abuse.
war God. You
Abuse
just call
power.
it, and if he's going to be merciful, it's usually because there's another agenda happening. But the
Yeah.
next thing you know, bam, here we go again.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to kind of put that in there that Baluku just say it as a kind of symbolic figure of Oludumare because nowhere in the Odu scripture, you know, yeah, I would say maybe 3, 4 times at most do we
Mm-hmm.
see Oludumare talking about I'm going to wipe out human beings. He may talk about being tired of him, you
Oh
know,
yeah.
or may not understand, what's going on. So he does something, but it's not always about, I'm going to destroy the earth. You know what I mean? I'm gonna send plagues, and I'm gonna, you know what I mean? And it's like the only concept of God that we have it basically comes from the Abrahamics, but that's not the only concept of a God consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of tricked to believe that that's so merciful and God gonna bring about a better world, and I'm like that's just not what's happening. It's just not.
Mm-hmm.
You know, whatever people can squeeze out of it, bless them. But
Yeah.
the truth of the matter is, you know, there's some wild stuff going on with this God. But I'm not trying to go to war. I'm just trying to say that when you deal with Ifa and Isheshe, changing your whole perspective of what the God essence is, okay? And there's some people who say, we won't even put Oludumare and God in the same sentence because how we are conditioned to see God, and how we are breaking out of that conditioning to see God is the path of Ifa and Isheshe.
Mm-hmm.
We just don't, you know, put something else on. We have to take things off.
Mm-hmm. Oh
And
yeah. Yeah.
and how we view things needs to be questioned, because other than that, as I've stated, time and time again, we're just doing what we're told. We're not being taught,
Mm.
and we're not given opportunities to reach our own revelations and hence resurrections,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So this is Seneca belief. Such is the way of a true God, not waging war, not killing, not even involving himself,
Mm.
but being a guide to wisdom and influence. Okay. So this is where now we just go back for a quick second.
Mm-hmm.
But this is where we see uh, mind messages were received. Well, where did those mind messages come from? They came from Faloye. Okay. Sinukumani sat in lotus posture in the corner of the lodge. His visions were more intense than usual. Mind messages were received, but they were blurred by time, distance, weariness, suffering. Where the mind messages?
How is it Foloye?
Well, remember, Faloye was sitting in meditation, and he said he was going to send a message to the one person that could probably do something about it. He's trying to warn
Mm-hmm.
Dravidians. He knows the Dravidians. He's telling Adefemi, the Dravidians are not a warlike people. They worship a God at the bottom. He knows the Dravidians.
Mm-hmm.
Even though he's in prison, he gets into his meditative trance, but he's sending his mind essence out to that one person.
Yeah. And then, but back there,
Hmm.
you made it as though it was just between that bronze goddess.
Well, the goddess was just someone who gave him the strength, because that's what Orisha do. They give us the strength to do what we need to do to bring about a better being of life. They're not the end. They're just on the way to human evolution and consciousness raising. They're not the end.
Mm-hmm.
They're portals. We pass through them.
That's amazing that you brought that together because
Mhm.
on the first glance of just reading it the way that we
Mhm.
I wouldn't have connected the two of that. That's a moment for a praise break. I'm probably going to insert the sound of a praise break of a woman sprinting across the church.
Okay, it's like, yeah.
Because like he went in, Faloye is in prison and he went into meditative just to send out the message. And
Yeah.
the one person that would have received it is Sanakumani. And I didn't even associate that.
Uh-huh. That's okay. That's
But
why
that's,
we have the platform, you know,
mhm,
to get people to see that, if you're going to read this and Kamani and Oshuniyi, and Abiyi, they can all attest that, the book is, it's deep.
yeah,
And,
yeah.
and folks have gone back to it a couple of times and saying, "Oh, I didn't get that right
Hmm.
then." So
Hmm.
that's okay. You know, that's okay. It took me about 5 years to write this book. I don't expect people to get it, in 4 5 months. Know.
Wow. But that's another thing. It took you 5 years. We live in a different time period and
Hmm.
have access to certain tools that, some books are written in 30 days because of that. But some of those books may lack what you mentioned
Yeah.
earlier is that human experience.
Right.
And so the human experience is something we have to constantly go back to because it's constantly evolving, and we're going to have to
Yeah.
dive deeper into what is being taught to us, what's being shown to us.
Right.
That's a lot. But this is amazing. I like it. So they're worried. And I also like the fact that you said we must increase our offerings and our prayers.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's usually the type of thing that I see oftentimes within the Shay within even Lakumi too. Is
Hmm.
like, did you? They'll be like, did you complete your abo? Did you
Hmm.
complete your abo, or did you make all the right offerings? What prayers did you say it in? Did you say
Hmm.
it in Yoruba?
Hmm.
It's like it's not potent enough for you to
Yeah.
get it, get whatever you need, or to live in peace, or to get the outcome that you want. You
Mhm.
know, when making certain offerings, but they're saying like, okay, well, we're experiencing this. Why are we being attacked? I guess we must make more offerings and much more prayers.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah. Never ending.
it
Never.
never, it's
Never.
never in.
Yeah. And it's like, well, just put more money in the basket. You know what I mean? Just give more money. Just keep doing this and keep doing that and keep doing this. But
Mm-hmm,
never sit down, take some deep breaths, okay?
mm-hmm,
Really look at the situation and figure out what you need to do, okay? There is a possibility that you just might save yourself.
mm,
Just be quiet and be still,
mm-hmm,
you know, and take responsibility for your actions
mm-hmm,
and weigh the impact that you have on others,
mm-hmm.
you know. But no, we can't do. There ain't no money in that, okay? And there's no continuation of this, adrenaline rush, if you will, that keeps people all, well, we got to do this. Oh, well, the chicken wasn't enough. So now we got to do a goat. The goat's not enough. So now we
Yeah,
got to do a bull. A bull's not enough. So now we got to do a human.
that's crazy. But the amount of like, what's his name, the king, right?
How they
The
paying?
pressure that even he's coming with, the energy that he's coming with,
Right.
and then the pirates, their energy and all of that
Yeah.
as well, that would keep a person in a cycle and make them feel like they must make hasty decisions. Hurry up and find a baba, hurry up, get somebody that's going to make the ebo faster and cheaper if need be, but we
Mm.
need to see the results, and it brings about a haste that I've seen within the community as well,
Yeah.
versus like Foloye having
Yeah.
to sit down, having to,
Yes.
he don't have any other choice. I mean, he's tried to speak to the
Yeah.
king, tell him
Hmm.
like, hey, this is, let me try to talk some sense into you. He tried to do that, but that
Right.
landed him into jail.
Yeah.
So while he's in jail, the only thing that he can do is send a message to someone who might get it. And
Yeah.
even the person that has received the message, like I said, I think that he is hiding the fact that he too is afraid, he's worried, but he's trying his best also to be as calm for his people as
Right.
well.
Excellent.
Mm,
Okay. Think we have one or two more.
yeah, I think so.
All
Yeah.
right.
All right. So sitting on the long side of his mat, he cast 11 ancestral bones. Through the dust, there arose a message. A stranger will come to us from another world. She will first descend to the depths and invoke Baluku, and he'll send through her a message that'll bring peace to the troubled world. No matter how hard we struggle, we can't change the way of things. Tazmat, eldest of Radika
Mhm.
clan, questioned Sanakumani. How is it that a stranger is permitted to see and invoke our God for our salvation?
Mhm.
For endless cycles, we've given our offerings and our prayers, yet Baluku remains a wisp, a gentle breeze, and rippling in the water.
Mhm.
You want to sit with this one or want to go to the next one?
Uh, I think this is important, very briefly, because We have ancestral bones coming into play. You know, we have uh, a divinatory systems. It's not just the Babalao who's able to cast, okay? But
Mm-hmm.
we also have more indigenous, if you will, you know, because
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
they
Yeah.
have their own systems.
Mm-hmm.
And when we look at various cultures throughout time and place, we find that the majority of them have some sort of divinatory system,
Absolutely.
you know? And,
Mm-hmm.
and see, because we're not into comparative analysis,
Mm-hmm.
everybody just likes to keep us, zeroed in on what they want to keep us zeroed in on.
Mm-hmm.
And let's just take a look at the handbook, for example, where I use comparisons to
Yeah.
help people see that
Mm-hmm.
we all see this something and we're all trying to make sense of this something, you know, this
Mm-hmm.
this 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 being and being, period. We're
Mm-hmm.
all trying to make sense of it, and we always have. And even though there are systems that come into place that want to keep us in the church or in the masjid or in the elay or wherever they want to imprison us,
Mm-hmm.
okay, that's not going to change anything about us.
Mm-hmm.
You see, so
No.
we're always going to find a way, and then even when it comes down to Christians, they don't take in this whole thing of casting lots, you know, and,
Mm-hmm.
and how even in the Old Testament, we're talking about Moses and Aaron and even the armor that they wore and how they place certain gems and certain patterns. It was all divinatory. And when Jesus was taken, and the disciples still wanted to make 12 because Jesus was gone, Judas was gone, everybody was gone. They divined on it. They cast lots.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? So when we stay so much into one thing, we start tripping, you know?
Mm-hmm.
We start thinking that it's the only thing. And even some fanatics will say that it's the only thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a high priest and have been since 1991. Okay. So, so for all that I am into E5, I recognize fully that I need to study things outside of E5 in order to increase my understanding,
Yeah.
you know, not
Mm-hmm.
my fanaticism and not my, closed mindedness,
Mm-hmm.
because that doesn't make me the stronger person. That doesn't make me wise. That doesn't make me be able to at least talk somebody out of taking their own life like Oloye did.
Yeah.
You see? So here is where I wanted to kind of introduce another system. Everything is not E5, 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 E6. Everything is not that.
Well, but Ifa is within all things, but I get what you're saying, but people won't be able to see that.
Exactly.
Because like recently I seen somebody ask about collect no, they didn't ask, but they were out in Nigeria trying to collect rocks and stones,
Mhm.
and they made a video about it saying that because it's the most powerful one. I'm like, they're probably from Alabama or something like that. I'm sure it's the same stones. I'm sure the same
Yeah.
stones are
Yeah.
out there that could be just as well powerful. I mean, it's of the earth.
Yes.
And but they won't appreciate it because it's in their backyard, you know.
Yeah.
Um but I would see E5 within my backyard too. That's
Uh,
another reason I like the handbook book as well,
mm,
because I liked how you put all of the herbs and stuff. They were all comparative, and you even did it with like the saints and the
yeah.
arena.
Yeah.
Like that's something that's needed, because if you're in prison somewhere and you can't get somewhere else, or if you're limited, you can't travel somewhere else, does
Right.
that mean you don't have Ashe? Or does it that you can't find peace where you are, or something like, but some people don't see it, not gonna see it. So I like that you introduced
Mhm.
11 astral ancestral bones,
Yes. Ancestral bones.
being
Okay.
his tool.
Yeah. So that's the deep insight that you shared, where is the Ashe? You understand? At the end of the day, where is the Ashe?
Yeah, because a lot of people would like to force you to believe that it's outside of yourself. If you're not
Exactly.
speaking it in Yoruba, if you don't know the songs in Yoruba or whatever other language, then it's
Mhm.
not. You're just
Yeah.
you're
There's
just riddles, Dr. Seuss rhymes.
yeah. There's a whole lot of people in the church who don't speak the language of Christ. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Christ wasn't going around speaking English,
I,
but people are making prayers in English. There's
mhm.
people who are Islamic or so orientated, and they might know some Arabic words, but when they really need to, you know, call forth something, they're gonna speak in whatever language. And I'm like, and there are people who speak Yoruba who are straight up crooks, you know.
Mhm.
So just because they speak Yoruba, and there's some people in positions who speak Yoruba, and they're not the best of people, you know. There are most who are, but to
Mhm.
walk in all blind, oh, because they speak Yoruba, they closer to the Orisha, and they're gonna do me all right. Well, you get ready to get whooped, okay? You know, and you grown too. You walking in there
Yeah,
like you're a child, you know.
yeah.
But the Ashe ultimately is within you, and anybody who doesn't help you to see that,
You should run.
realize that,
Hmm.
let's just say I would ask you to reevaluate. You know, I can't tell you what to do, but I can share with you that seeing things is is real important.
Yeah.
It's real important. And I mean seeing, not looking at, but seeing. You know,
Hmm.
especially when you're grown. It's like, come on. You
And
know what I
got
mean?
kids, and
Really?
got kids. Because now what the kids gonna think? Because it will affect them.
Yes.
It
Yes.
will affect them. Because if something don't go right, the kids are gonna look up and say, "Well, mom, dad,
Hmm.
you said
Yeah. Yeah.
how." So
So,
I like that you also added, "How is
mhm,
it that a stranger is permitted to see
yes.
or invoke our God for our salvation?"
Right.
For endless cycles, we've given our offerings and our prayers, yet
Mhm.
Baluku remains a whiffs in a gentle breeze and ripping water. I like this too, because a lot of times people come into spirituality and they don't have the gift of sight,
Mhm.
and they don't even understand how everybody is different spiritually, and
Mhm.
they would go on to believe that if unless a person is doing a thing a certain way, or speaking a certain way, and carrying themselves a certain way, then
Mhm.
then they don't have any power.
Hmm.
They don't have no power. So to be like, how can a stranger be permitted to see what we've been doing? We've been doing this forever.
Right, right, right.
Offering. So how are they? Because I've been in situations like that. I've seen people come in
Okay.
situations like that,
Okay.
where completely written off just because you're not part of the group. You're not a part of the clan, like they.
Yes,
Uh-huh.
absolutely. You know, I see Oshuni put something about
Fear
fear
is the leading face.
factor.
Hmm.
What do you think about that?
It is. I mean, fear is the leading factor in this particular part, and in most people, and in most people's orientation and how they see stuff.
Well, fear of what? You know,
Hmm.
just for conversation. Fear of what? Fear of somebody putting something on you. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Fear
Uh,
of having more power, being more connected, more intuitively guided than they are, is fear of something not being something being exposed. You know, um, it's,
Hmm.
I would say it's a lot.
Yeah. But I'll share with you something about fear. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Fear is generally a lack of our own capabilities.
Yeah.
If I can't fight, then I'm going to be real fearful of somebody coming at me.
Mm-hmm.
But if I've been a martial artist for like 5 years and I got something, I got a little something for him, I'll
Mm-hmm.
be like, come on. You understand? Because
Mm-hmm.
I'm capable. I'm capable. You know, as a black man, when I walk into a meeting, okay, of non-black people, and they're looking at me with preconceived notions that
Yeah.
I'm fully aware of,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't fear them because I'm capable. You know,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I will whip you with words, and you won't realize you've been cut until you got home. Okay, so the whole thing is that we fear what we seemingly have no control over.
Mm-hmm. She said, "I can relate."
Yeah. So when you build yourself up, when you become that martial artist, or when you become that fulfilled individual who know your stuff, you walk in there like you own the daggone place.
Mm-hmm.
Not like, oh, well, what are they gonna say to me? I don't know what I'm gonna do, blah blah blah. So of course you're afraid because you're
Mm-hmm.
in it together.
Mm-hmm.
And there may be 1,000 reasons for that, but there's also 1,000 reasons for you to start working on you.
Yeah. True.
I've had the so-called most powerful people in Palo and all that kind of stuff,
Mm-hmm.
cursing me and throwing down plates because I'm not going to play by your rules, and I'm definitely not going to play when it comes down to taking advantage of my own people. I
Yeah.
don't give whatever of who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we're gonna do that. Blah, 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 blah. Get out of here with that stuff, man. You think you're dealing with a child?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I have no fear, not because I'm crazy, but because I train myself, I discipline myself. And if I'm going to be any fani shay to become fearful, then I have to really question, why am I here?
Yeah.
If I'm going to be so afraid that, oh, this ear going to do something to me and all that kind of stuff, then what?
Mm-hmm.
What? What's the purpose? You know, start working on yourself. Grow your life. Fear of being harmed. Fear. Well, again, or what would happen if you don't make an elbow?
Yeah. I remember that day. I remember them days.
But see, that's what people put on you. That's what
Mm-hmm.
people put on you. You think everybody out there who's successful in life have been making their bows?
Maybe in a different form, but not only in the Ifa Shay way. There's
Oh,
other forms of Ebo.
okay, okay. But now we can start talking about that.
Mm-hmm. But to this point here, yeah,
Mhm,
fear of if you don't do it when Eshu is opens up the gates and in those 17
mhm,
days, and
mhm.
if you don't do it, then here comes the Iyami. They're gonna come and get you, the whole boogie boogeyman thing.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So for all of the people, okay, who don't understand the psychological ramifications, the people in the back, okay,
Mm-hmm.
you can make the elbow or you can not make the elbow. But if you are sincere and you are earnest and you go to SU and say, I really can't do it because I don't understand, or I don't have the money, or I don't really trust the people who are telling me to do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Now, if you're telling me that your understanding of the Orisha is that they don't hear you, they don't hear your sincerity,
Mm-hmm.
They don't embrace your hurt. So you're trying to tell me that if a woman, you know, has suffered the loss of her child, and she's in anguish, and she calls out to Oshun to say, please help me. I'm thinking of even taking my own life. This is too much. And Shun going to talk about, oh well, you got to make an elbow,
Mm-hmm.
or you go to get a reading, which is different than a divination, and the whomever says, oh well, Oshun wants 5 hens. But
Mm-hmm.
you come to a babalao like me, it's like I want to hear your story,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And I might say go to the river,
Mm-hmm.
but to put you in a position where you have to take more lives in
Yeah.
order to appease that spirit of grief inside of you,
Mm-hmm.
in my opinion, you're feeding the grief. Okay. And if you're fearful that you don't do it, exactly, people pay big money for elbows. But the change doesn't just happen because you make the elbows. The change will come if you're sincere. The change will come even if you can't make the elbow. If you decide to, you go to the doctor, and the doctor tell you, oh well, you got some strange disease, and we got to operate on you, and blah blah blah. And then
Mm-hmm.
you go to a naturopathic healer and says, well, you need to change your diet.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't make a choice. You can be fearful. But what are you capable of doing? Are you going to put all your trust in that doctor? Or are you going to put all your trust in your ability to make change for yourself?
Right.
Okay. Fear is delusional. It really, really is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can fear the end of the world. That might not stop it from happening. But like the Dravidians, they got to figure out a way to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but again, that's a whole that's just really something else, and that's why there are people now who are struggling in Ifani Sheshe, because you have some folks saying you don't need to make blood sacrifices, and then there are other people on the other side who are saying, oh well, that's what Ifani Sheshe is. Exactly, Kamani. That you need to do this because that's what Ifa Isheshe is all about. And I'm saying,
Mm-hmm.
make your choice. But whatever choice you make, don't forget that the ebo is something in your character that needs to be sacrificed.
Yeah. True
Don't
indeed.
forget that part. Because if you're just paying money and making ebos to cover your weakness, then you'll never be strong.
Mm-hmm.
Matter of fact, you'll become more weak, like a drug addict.
Mm-hmm.
I just want more. I gotta get more instead of going cold turkey. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
and coming up on out of that. That would be your ebo. Hmm. All right. Baluku's Haven.
Yes. Baluku's Haven. The most pleasant of floral odors lulled Emina's senses. I could dwell here forever, she said. You cannot, swirled Baluku. I can't. You are needed in the world to prevent a war that will decimate the tribes and kill the future.
Hmm.
Who wage war on the Dravidians? They've done no wrong. They live in peace and avoid conflict with others. Who tried to subvert them? Your father, Baluku
Hmm.
says. Amina struggled in the mirror that engulfed her.
Hmm.
If I oppose him, my intentions will again be taken as a betrayal. He surely empty his heart of me, and I'll be without him. This unprovoked war is beyond you and your father. It is one of man and God in the melding of one unto the other. But your God, Amina is saying, you can undo evil and make straight the curves. Why don't you just do it? Why don't you just save us all? The serpentine creature breathed words into Amina's consciousness. The world is in need of you. not me.
Hmm.
What must I do? Emina asks tearfully. You must become a part of creation, Baluku replied.
Okay, yeah, let's stop there. What do
Mhm.
you think of people?
Again, it is that fear. And I like how you went from the previous passage and you were asking, like the fear. What is the fear? What are the fear of things? And here she's like, I could dwell here forever. Like, like you're just comfortable down here.
Mm-hmm.
And like when I first read it, I really thought, okay, we're reading the book. It's a bit fictional, of course, but I think that she's dead. Either she's dead or she's in a coma state or subconscious, but she's
Uh,
underneath the water and um, she's thinking about staying there forever.
mm-hmm.
But people in the outside world are looking for her. They're not sure if she's dead. They don't even know where to find her or what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And she's down there communicating with Baluku, and she's just making a decision to think like, okay, I could stay here forever. But Baluku's telling her she has to come up. She has to go up there and she has to deliver a message, whether it is in spirit or also
Mm-hmm.
in physical. Like you gotta wake up at some point. You have to get up and continue on with this message, with this
Yeah.
delivery. You know,
Mhm.
and I think that a lot of people in the Isheshe community get comfortable and just think about it only being for themselves.
Mhm.
There's some people that come into Ifa that they are to help community and they are to continue being a part of community and helping. But then there are some that's only just thinking about what a lot has happened to me. I need to focus on myself.
Mhm.
I'm going through a war within myself, and she's only thinking about herself here. She's
Mhm.
not thinking about the fact that she is possibly chosen, has
Uh,
the power, is the one voice that people need to hear,
mhm.
that connection.
Mhm.
So she's already like sabotaging herself and putting herself, in a state of like she's not even ideal the person for this because she's going through a lot. I mean, I have several different takes with
Yeah,
those.
yeah, that's cool. And then she puts it back on God. On Baluku. Why don't you do something? But you're God. You can do this and you can do that. Why don't you just do it? Why don't you just save us all?
Mhm. Yeah, again, it's like the mysticism of things.
Yeah, it's like, oh,
And
God will take care of it. Oh, it's in the Lord's hands, and da, 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 da. And it's like, okay, 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 I get that part of it, but that's only a fraction.
hmm
You understand? It's only a fraction. When Beluku was trying to tell her, the world is in need of you. We
hmm
need each other.
hmm
We need each other. Dare I say, more than we need God.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
I know it sounds a little deep, sounds a little
To
way
some,
out the box. But how, where would we be without each other?
hmm
You know? So, all right, so God is there. All right, fine, wonderful. But
hmm
there's no sense of family, there's no sense of community, there's no sense of nation,
hmm
or better or worse. We're all in this together,
yeah,
and we do need each other. I need you,
hmm
and I'm aware of the fact that I am needed. So
absolutely.
that does something to how I relate to you. That does something to the intimacy factor. Okay.
That reminds me of something too. That reminds me of how many elays there's this hierarchy that people set, and
Ah.
in that hierarchy that people set, I think that it it kind of excludes, if I'm using the right word, it makes
Hmm.
people rely on the people within him, and there's others that people can also obtain information from.
Yes.
And
Yes.
but how dare you go outside of that? I don't,
Oh,
does that make sense?
yeah, that
Like,
part.
because
People
because just
come
like it's because it is like how dare you go outside, but there's other people who are needed and that need us as well, but you only want us to follow this hierarchy or this
yeah,
like chain of command, like
yeah.
Wait a minute. What about somebody over here with like 40 years of information and experience that is in about like, what
Hmm.
about this? What about they're just gonna like disappear into
Right.
and nobody should talk to them. Nobody. We only should just focus on this one group because it's a large quantity of all of us, and we're all wearing the same pajamas. And
And the same bonnets or whatever. So the whole thing now. What's Kamani talking about? Uh,
interesting how Cool and Amina are in conversation, but he breathes into her consciousness. The world is in need of you, not me. He doesn't just tell her; he delivers it onto her understanding.
yes, yes.
Yeah,
Good catch. Yes.
yeah.
You know, again, there's something about helping a person to understand their value, their importance. It's like I could tell you 100 times, but until I breathe, breathe, you know, respiration, inspiration, to be
Mm-hmm.
inspired. He's trying to inspire her,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and breathing the words inside,
Mm-hmm.
not speaking the words. Yes, it's another level of understanding, you know, and a person has to be guided to that point. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
where okay, got a lot of clicking going on in the background.
Let me make sure I mute this.
Yeah, where where the teacher, and in this case Baluku, the higher consciousness of being, what we would call Agban Inu, or even Agban Ori, 2 points that I kind of brought up on yesterday's podcast. Uh, but there is that inherent inner voice that is very, very wise, and that inner consciousness, and it goes beyond the Ori. Everybody gets stuck on Ori. Oh, you ever got to do something for your head? Okay, so you put coconut on it and a pigeon or whatever, and you do all that. Okay, I've done so many I can do it with my eyes closed. But the whole thing is that at a certain point, it's like, okay, how can you help people to see that is not what they put on their head, but what's put in their heads? Okay, because you can ritualize your Ori until the end of time. That doesn't mean it's going to increase your understanding, unless a while it's being done, words are breathed into your consciousness, or instead of that Ebo, that Ibori being done, you sit with a master teacher. You sit with someone who's gained, like you said, from 40 years of experience, and they have developed a way to guide you, you know, not indoctrinate you, not command you, not be a part of some hierarchical system where you got to listen to me or else, or keep you in a state of fear. Well, if you don't do this, then they're Risha going to curse you, and all that kind of stuff. Now there may be levels of that, but if you're climbing that mountain of mercy, then there's a lot of things that you have to leave behind. You know, if you're going to be a child, and it is when I was a child, I walked like a child. Okay. But if you're not a child anymore, why are you still walking like one? You understand? So this whole Ori thing is fine at a certain level, but then you start to understand that there's Ori is your total body consciousness, and with inside your total body consciousness, There is a seat of wisdom. There is a seat of the wisest being, and often we don't listen to it. Some might call it intuition or gut feeling. These are basic levels, but if we develop them, we do become all seeing, and we can breathe words into people's consciousness, because our words are carried through the air. If we're in a vacuum, there's going to be no sound. We exhale our words, and our words ride on the spirit of our intent. All right?
Mm-hmm.
Want me to read this part?
If you like, I don't mind reading it.
Okay, you go.
Okay.
This is the last one.
Yes, I believe so. Let me make
Okay.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
Did I move too fast? Okay. Woo. The village. Her eyes were blue gray and glossy. Her eyelids were transparent. Scales covered her body and they showed silver blue in the sun. She swam the lake until reaching the Dravidians, and she dorsal finned a path to Sanakumani's lodge. When she entered, he was still seated and calling out to her. She gently held his face. You found me, he sighed. Your prayers reached Baluku, and he released my spirit.
Mhm.
War is near, and only you can save us. Without, no, we're without any army. Surely we'll be wiped from the face of the earth. My father leads his armies against your people, Emina said. We will be saved from the horrors of war. No, will we be saved from the horrors of war? Sanakumani asked. You know the answer, old one. You're the holy man. Return to God, Sanakumani. Convince Baluku to save us. You're beyond your own enlightenment. Your understanding is falling by the wayside because of your attachment to your wife, your clan, and your tribe. We're God's people. Why won't Baluku save us? God won't intervene. Didn't Baluku intervene to save you?
Mhm.
I've no answer to give. The villagers huddled outside the fence. They tried to gain understanding of the present and the future, but both were opaque, hence difficult to discern.
Mhm.
Faith would have to guide them. There was nothing else left.
Wow.
Hmm.
You
So,
pointed out something the other day, though. I'm gonna pull this before you get
okay.
down. That it seemed like Senator Kumani was going against his own
Yeah.
initial
Hmm.
insights that he was sharing with Amina. And why did he say that?
In the beginning, because he spoke so confident, so assured,
Hmm.
his stance as a person of enlightenment.
Hmm.
However, he is also trying to uphold, you know, his leadership to his people, those
Hmm.
that depend on him. And he's not trying to be in worry. He doesn't want to display worry.
Okay.
He doesn't want to display the word, but then here is where it is shown that obviously he doesn't even believe in either his own ashe, his own power, or
Hmm.
the power of Baluku, because it's near time that a war is about to break loose,
Hmm.
and he's looking for a savior to come through, and
Hmm.
sure that as a man would probably be an attack on him in some way, especially
Hmm.
as a wife or father, a leader in his community. Even like just the previous conversations that we had,
Hmm.
the face of fear. And they're all, in a sense, putting that blame on Baluku, pointing the finger over Baluku, trying to push the weight over to Baluku. But it's them. It's within themselves. It's not about
Hmm.
the rituals. It's not about Baluku. It's just them
Yeah.
in their own power. And I'm sure that they don't want to have to face that, because then that would question everything else they believe in. People hold tight onto their beliefs
Yes.
very
Yeah.
heavy.
Mm. That's powerful because see when we're pressed to the wall and there's seemingly no place else to go, we turn to our gods, you know. But I share with people all the time, churches have been bombed,
Yeah.
you know, people praying have been murdered.
Mhm.
You understand? Uh,
Mhm.
Soldiers go out to war, and let's just say there's a thousand of them, and there's a thousand mothers praying for their son's return.
Mhm.
Five come back.
Yeah.
You see? Now, does that say that prayer is ineffective? Does that say that belief is ineffective? But see, these are discussions that I feel people in Ifa and Isheshe would benefit from. There
Mhm.
be no one answer, but it's the dialogue. It's the dialogue that helps us to not question our faith, but to more deeply understand it.
Mhm.
Okay, and I got into a little, you know, mind thing with a mindless person, but
Call them mindless.
I was like, "Where you coming from, my brother?
Mhm.
What is up? You're trying to tell me that that Ifa Isheshe was so good, all in Nigeria, that it's just you know the perfect thing to be in."
Mhm.
I'm like, well, weren't we just enslaved a couple of hundred years ago?
Mhm.
I mean, didn't we suffer amongst the top five greatest of atrocities of crimes against humanity
Mhm.
a couple of hundred years ago? Not a
Mhm.
couple thousand years ago. You could almost forget. Time will just wipe the horrors away. But just a
Mhm.
couple of hundred years ago.
Mhm.
So if then all of these elbows and all of this, you know, kind of Abrahamic view of a perfect world, okay, is set to the test historically, we will have to bow our heads, not in prayer, but in our own lack of understanding.
Yeah.
Are you going to also tell me that no priest or chief had any involvement with the enslavement of our people? And are you going to also tell me that those who were most faithful to the Orisha and Ifa were untouched
Mm.
by the horrors? So I'm like, okay, my brother, and forgive me for attaching the adjective of mindless. I don't mean to be negative. I'm just calling it like I see it, you know?
Mhm.
And within that mindlessness, I'm attempting to pour some mindfulness in and breathe words into his consciousness
Mm.
that we can't just abandon reality because we have faith in something, you know? How many of us were devout Christians and were lynched
Yeah.
by others who claim to be Christians as well?
Mhm.
You see, when we
Mhm.
start talking about becoming priests and priestesses in Ifa and Isheshe, are we becoming just as narrow minded and imprisoned as everybody else? Why can't we have these type of dialogues? We're not questioning our faith. We're questioning our reasoning. And this is what's come into place between Emina and Sinakumani.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to abandon his faith, but he is starting to question. Well, didn't Baluku intervene to save you?
You're right.
So why won't he intervene to save us? I'm not getting this, man. You're blowing my mind right now. Why did he save you and won't save us? And Amina gives a classic response. I don't know. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I have no answer to give.
Mm-hmm.
And so the villagers trying to gain understanding of the present and future, but both were opaque, hence difficult to discern. They don't know what's going on. Okay. Faith would have to guide them. There was
Mm-hmm.
nothing else left. Wow.
The villagers huddled outside the fence.
Yeah.
Okay, here's something else I want to bring up. I know earlier in the story, like the
Hmm.
first, like the first chapter, Sunakumani was visited by Imani and conscious, but it was in meditation.
Oh, visited by whom? Emina?
Amina,
Oh,
in
okay.
visitation. Yeah, he was visited by her.
Oh, in the prologue. Yes.
Yes, and
Hmm.
then here she's showing up more as a spirit
Yeah.
again.
Yeah. Baluku sent my spirit, she says.
So she, her spirit, is she
Or
dead?
oh, but go back. She's coming back now as a mermaid. Go back. Remember, her eyes were
Yeah,
glossy and
black.
her skin.
Yeah,
So, but Luco sent her back, but not as a human being. Her eyes were blue gray and glossy. Her eyelids were transparent. Scales covered her body, and they shone silver blue in the sun. She swam the lake until reaching the Dravidians.
hmm I read on another part, and I know we didn't highlight it, but she had also showed up to her dad too and scared him. We didn't
Not,
highlight, but she's constantly showing up like in a
yeah,
figure.
but she didn't show up in chapter 2 to him. In a later chapter, she shows up.
Mm.
You know.
Okay, so
So she's like a, what we call homo eja,
yeah,
a child
mhm,
of the fish. And there are people who I would say misinterpret that as a mermaid,
yeah,
but the closest uh, thing that I can see us relating to is a mermaid.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
but of course she's coming through the water, so Baluku sends her back as something that's not human.
Mm-hmm.
But she's conversing, like she's a human.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
All right. So that ends our discussion of chapter 4.
yeah. This
Now
chapter two.
it doesn't end the chapter, it just ends our discussion of it.
Oh, well, that's it.
All
So
right. Well,
you
scroll down a little bit. I think I need to make a correction. Scroll down a little bit. Past the
down.
colony of Janjuri,
Uh-huh.
the other way. Scroll up a little bit, I guess.
Up.
Okay, no, down.
Down.
Go the other way. Yeah, scroll down. All right, bloodstained King out of Fame. Yes. Go, keep going. Kuumbu dismounted, so now we're introduced to Kuumbu.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, keep going, keep going.
He said this was the end, y'all.
But so you reminded me of something. Yes. So for those of you who haven't read the whole chapter, and for us
Mhm.
old folks who may have forgotten, she does appear to her father, but she is appearing to him like the mermaid. Okay, so all of that is in chapter 2, a king gone mad.
Mm.
I'm letting you know, people, that this book here Some have considered it a masterpiece. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So what does Kamani say?
The passage reminds me of the Odu Iwori.
Boy Meiji. Okay.
Strive continuously, no, continually to attain absolute truth even while experiencing the tribulations of life. Amina's trying to bring it to Sanakumani, in my opinion.
Yes. And your opinion is embraced, Brother Kamani. Yeah. Okay. All opinions
And
are.
for like and him and Faloye too. She's trying to this is also happening for Faloye as well, while
Yeah.
experiencing the tribulations of life to
Right.
obtain absolute truth even while experiencing it. Yeah.
Tribulations in life. Exactly. So, we start to see. Could you take the chat down, please?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So we start to see, from my perspective as the author, that the study of the Ifa Esheshe verses and stories, okay, the essay and the etan, okay,
Mm-hmm.
opens many doors, okay, and those doors are like two-way. We can walk in them and find our creativeness. You know, some people may find it in jewelry. Some people may find it, in writing. Some people may find it in painting. I'm looking for Ifai Shishi people who do the anime. You know,
Mm-hmm.
say, well, maybe we can bring them on board, discuss
Mm-hmm.
what needs to be done, and then get it done. But
Mm-hmm.
it's all done by Ifani Shishi people, not some, folks who have no understanding of Ifani Shishi or a negative take on it, and they
Mm-hmm.
want to twist it up, to bring some, ish to it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But here and now, okay, we have this book, and we've only touched on the prologue in the first two chapters. Okay. There's 21 chapters in the book.
Mm-hmm.
What a study it would be. And I do use some pages out of the book in my college classes,
Wonderful.
not the whole book, because I'm
Mm-hmm.
trying to teach from the book, not
Mm-hmm.
sell the book.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, for our listeners, I encourage you to obtain the book, not just because I need to sell it, and not even because you need to read it,
Mm-hmm.
but because you need to understand it. You know, you just don't surface read. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and then have discussions about it.
Yes. So many different discussions can be had from this.
Yeah.
Hmm. By the
Okay.
way, I also got a bony in the mail yesterday.
Agban. Okay.
A bond, yes, pardon
Yeah.
me.
Okay. Well, from Agbani, I hear you. But
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, and with Tawadi coming up from the 16th of December on to the 31st of December, where
Mm-hmm.
we take a 16-day spiritual pilgrimage,
Mm-hmm.
reading Agbani during that time
Mm-hmm.
would be uh, highly suggested and very beneficial.
Okay.
Okay. And maybe on the 17th day, we'll do another podcast
Uh-huh.
and talk about Agba and some of the points that you picked up during those 16 days.
Now, Shay, let's do it. That's fine with me.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Well, I thank you
Uh,
again. Taking the time out is always
okay.
beyond insightful, and I'm glad that you know, Karade Nation is in
Mhm.
the.
All right. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And this is going to be On YouTube, as far as I understand.
Yeah, it's right now live on YouTube and on Facebook as we're
Oh,
talking. So,
okay.
yeah, it'll be there. It'll be there for people to go back and review it,
Right.
and and also get. Hopefully, they add their own takes of
Yes.
parts of the things that we've highlighted and was able to go over, because I would
Mhm.
surely like to see it. This is information that people can get at any point. You know, somebody
Yeah.
was just in the inbox earlier this morning asking about Ifa, and I had to tell them, well, asking about Isheshe and the initiation process, and I had to tell them that it requires a intricate understanding. You know, I was
Interesting.
very open to have that one on one with them, to talk to
Mhm.
them about it. And if they want DEFI or something, then they surely can have that too. But I'm not here to sell people initiation. Okay.
Yeah.
Hopefully they caught the lie so they understand what comes with it. Come on and said, great discussion. Glad I made it. Thank you, Ia and Oloye Alafia. Shea Alafiani, thank you for coming. Your insight is very much embraced and welcomed.
All
Hmm.
right. So
Okay.
it's
Well,
been,
we'll do it again in what, another week, because we got
yeah,
chapter.
yeah. We're gonna do chapter 3, young love, people. And if you think this part was good, wait until we kind of peel back the layers of what
Oh boy.
Emina
Oh boy.
through
Okay.
love.
Get ready for chapter 3, guys.
For chapter 3, maybe next Sunday.
Next Sunday, 3 o'clock Central Standard Time, 4 o'clock
Yeah,
Eastern
4 o'clock
Standard
Eastern Standard. Right.
Time. Okay. Well, we
Okay.
can do it again. We'll send out the invitation so everybody will be alerted, and they'll get the notifications.
All right.
All
And
right.
we do some shorts from this too, right?
Yes, of course. I'm going to make shorts. I'm going to be sure to make shorts. Absolutely, a lot
That'll
of
be
them.
that'll be so nice. So nice.
I can't wait to really like explore the whole animation aspect of it, because I am going to do that. Because I can see it now, like I can see the visuals of it.
Okay.
I'm gonna
Uh,
look for some. I'm gonna do some research, and I'll keep you up to date.
All right. All right.
Hmm.
All right.
Okay.
Ondabro, my dear.
Odabo, have a
Okay.
good evening, you all. Have a great week.
Mhm. And peace to everyone and to all our listeners. Keep up
Absolutely.
with us, okay?
All
We're
right.
just gaining some traction. We're gaining momentum.
Absolutely. All right. Enjoy your weekend.
All
Thank
right.
you. Let's see this ending the stream.